Hello and welcome to my new video of the Saint Seiya universe. This time we will learn about the 17th century Aries Golden Knight, who he is, what he did, and much more. So if you are interested in learning, stay until the end of this two-part video. Let's get started. Shion was together with Doko, a bronze saint of unknown constellation, and promoted to Saint of Aries, a position he would hold prior and during the previous holy war against Hades narrated in Saint Seiya Next Dimension. After the end of it, Shion would be promoted this time as Kyoko, surviving hero of that holy war against Hades. He was the teacher of Mu, after carrying out his position for more than 230 years. He dies assassinated by Saga, Saint of Gold of Gemini. 13 years later, he was resurrected by Hades, with a youthful and ephemeral body. He returns to the afterlife after having completed his mission in the sanctuary in front of his friend. Doko of Libra. Appearance. In the original manga, Shion's face is never seen until the Hades saga, as this is a tall young man with long hair with the same countenance as Mu and Kiki, as well as the two tikas in the forehead, symbol of their Muvian race. In Next Dimension, he has short hair and is blonde due to the coloring that Kurumada gave him in the manga, while in the Hades OVA he is presented with the same appearance as the manga but with light green hair. Personality. As for his personality, Shion has a quite serene, reserved character and thinks things through before executing them. At the same time, he is determined and aware of the course the war is taking, as well as the sacrifices that must be taken. On the other hand, in the original manga he appears arrogant and proud before Doko. He considers the Bronze Saints to be rubbish and is sure of control of all events. But this is all an act on his part. After Athena's death, he demonstrates his true personality by claiming that he has only been feigning his loyalty to Hades and that in reality he was seeking to revive Athena's armor with her blood. Discovering the potential of the Bronze Saints, he entrusts them with the armor of the goddess. In Tenkaihan Overture, he is proud of the Bronze Saints. The personality of this Shion would seem an exact tracing that the one created by Masami Kurumada in the original manga, remaining calm even in extreme situations such as the end of the Holy War or the mental control of a saint. Unfortunately, it is only twice that he appears in the work. Therefore it has not been possible to exploit his personality in a better way. Training and meeting with Kaiser. Promotion to Gold Saint. In his teens, Shion trained to become a Bronze Saint along with Doko and Suikyo. Honored as a Bronze Saint, he is promoted to the Order of the Golden Saints, obtaining the Aries of Aries before the imminent threat of a new war against Hades. One of the sanctuary soldiers informs them that Hades is at a site called the Champs-Élysées. Libra's Doko rushes to go there, but is stopped by Shion, who says that it is first necessary to have the permission of the Pope. Without reaching any agreement, the two face off. But Shion, realizing that they are wasting time, decides to accompany Doko. Once there they find a young man named Alone, sitting on a beautiful field of flowers. The young man's cosmos paralyzes them until he sees them and speaks to them. When neglected, Shion attempts to decapitate him, but is stopped by a Japanese-looking young man named Tenma. He attacks both Golden Saints with his Pegasus meteor, which is ineffective. Finally, the young people flee without realizing that a barrel containing the Pegasus Pandora box falls from the horse. Moments later, Tenma returns through the box, dresses the cloth, and attacks Shion. The Golden Saints explain to Tenma the work of the saints and their duty to Athena. So the three go to look for Alone, but they are late. Pandora had taken the young man to the castle of Hades. Upon reaching the castle, Tenma is attacked by a group of Hades skeleton soldiers who are easily defeated by Shion and Doko. They are interrupted by Vermeer from Griffin of the Heavenly Star of Nobility. He attacks the saints, who can do nothing. The moment Vermeer was preparing to use the final blow, he was interrupted by Judge de la Garuda. Shion, Doko, and Tenma recognize the voice of Suikyo, now a judge of Hell Garuda. At the moment when the infernal judge was preparing to murder them, he is called by Pandora along with Vermeer, leaving the job to some skeletons. Pegasus, Tenma's horse, arrives and kills a skeleton spectre, revealing that he was also carrying the cup armor. Shion and Doko take out the armor, pour some water and drink it, regaining their strength. When Tenma wakes up, he is surprised because he saw a strange figure in the reflected water. Shion argues that by observing the water, you are able to observe your own future. So you see yourself as Kyoko, without telling anyone present. In the sanctuary, Saint Seiya Next Dimension, Volume 2. Later the three decide to return to the sanctuary in order to arrive with a Kyoko to report on the situation. But when they arrive at the Temple of Taurus, they are stopped by Ox, Saint of Gold of Taurus, who threatens them with eliminate for having acted without authorization from their superiors. To the place, Izu of Capricorn also arrives, who cuts the ground with a blow from Excalibur, causing Shion, Doko and Tenma to fall off a cliff. Upon rising, Shion tells the others that they must train hard in order to become true Saints of Gold and thus leave a legacy for the future, and to be in optimal condition in order to restrain Hades' army. Suikyo Invasion, Saint Seiya Next Dimension, Volume 3. Pegasus, Tenma and newcomer Shun from Andromeda attempt to pass through the Temple of Aries to save Athena in the hands of the traitorous Kyoko. Shion at first does not allow them to pass until Suikyo from Garuda arrives, with whom he has a confrontation. Hearing Shijima's message from Virgo, Shion allows Shun and Tenma to pass, and faces off against Suikyo, but after being wounded by a Ikki of the Phoenix, who also reached the past, relieves Shion in the fight. Although Ikki is shot down, he tells Shion that Suikyo did not leave intact, as he is under the influence of his devilish illusion of the Phoenix. Shion tells Ikki to go ahead and watch his Ares temple in case more arrive spectral. The emissaries. Shion continues to guard the Ares house, when suddenly a snake appears in front of him and begins to speak to him. Said animal tells him that he is an emissary, that a person more sacred than Athena is about to appear, and asks him to become one of his allies and help him take the head of the goddess. Shion refuses, saying that he will protect the Ares house against those who want to attack Athena. The snake tells him that he will not be able to oppose him, since that saint is about to revive, and that he is someone they know very well. Shion understands that it is the Golden Saint of Ophiuchus. We come to the end of the first part about the Ares Knight from the previous Holy War. In part 2 we will continue learning about the position that Shion held for more than 200 years. Don't miss it! Also, if you liked it, like it, subscribe and activate the notification bell. Bye.